Welcome again to the Death Row and Executions channel. My name is Paco Rivera. The last time that the state of Ohio executed someone was in the year 2018, 5 years ago. The next death row inmate scheduled to be executed in Ohio is Charles Lorraine, who has been on death row since December of the year 1986. That's probably before a lot of viewers of this channel were even born. Lorraine has been on death row now for 36 years. The problem that the state of Ohio has been having in recent years is obtaining the drugs necessary to carry out executions by lethal injection, mostly because drug manufacturers are refusing to sell it to the state to be used for that purpose. Yeah, I know. Here come the comments again from some of you jokers out there. Bullets are cheap, or the guillotine is quite effective. Bring back old Sparky. Charles Lorraine was born in the year 1966. He is now 56 years old. He was 19 years old when the crime occurred and had turned 20 years old when he was sentenced to death a few months later. Beginning around the year 1985, when Charles Lorraine was 18 years old, he was doing some light handyman duties and odd jobs around the house for an elderly couple named Raymond Montgomery and his wife, Doris Montgomery, at their home in the city of Warren in Ohio. The house was located on a red brick paved road named Haymaker Avenue Northwest. That home is seen here in recent images from the year 2015 that now appears to be long ago abandoned at this point. Doris Montgomery was bedridden with crippling arthritis and had spent most of her time in a bed on the first floor of the house. By the following year, 1986, the Montgomerys began noticing money missing from the house every time Charles Lorraine was there, and at some point told the boy, now 19 years old, that they won't be needing his services anymore. On the evening of May 5th, 1986, Charles Lorraine arrived at the doorway of Raymond and Doris Montgomery. He was carrying a butcher knife that was tucked away in the back of his jeans. He would later say that the door was opened and he could see through the screen door that Doris was lying in a bed and she waved at him to come inside. Once inside, he saw that Raymond Montgomery was sitting on a bed that was placed in the dining room of the house so that he could be near his wife and attend to her whenever necessary. Raymond Montgomery stood up and approached their former handyman at the door. Charles Lorraine told the older man that he had removed his necklace for a moment while he was upstairs on the second floor of the house the last time that he was there, and forgot to take the necklace with him when he was done. Raymond Montgomery escorted Charles Lorraine up the stairs to the second floor. When the 77-year-old man stopped and was facing Charles Lorraine, Lorraine retrieved the butcher knife from the back of his pants and stabbed him 5 times in the neck and chest, killing him. Lorraine then went downstairs to the first floor. He approached 80-year-old Doris Montgomery, who was basically paralyzed from her arthritis condition, still lying in the bed, and stabbed her 9 times, killing her. Charles Lorraine then looked around the house for money and found a total of $83 and then left. Sometime around 1:30 in the morning, Charles Lorraine arrived at the Olympic Inn Bar in Warren to meet up with some friends, and he bought everyone drinks until he ran out of money. According to those friends, during that time, Lorraine had been bragging about killing 2 old people. At about 2:30 in the morning, an hour later, Lorraine left the bar with a friend named Perry, and they arrived at the home of another mutual friend named Victor Peterman. Peterman would later tell authorities that Charles had also bragged to him about killing 2 old people earlier that night, and that Charles and Perry then asked him to loan them a hammer so that they can break into some other homes to burglarize them. Lorraine and Perry later broke into a house and stole about $40 and also stole the car that was parked there in the driveway. They then drove that car back to Raymond and Doris Montgomery's house on Haymaker Avenue and went inside. The friend, Perry, would later say that's when he first saw the two dead bodies. The two of them then grabbed some jewelry, some more money found in the house, and a gun. Sometime after that, they went to Denny's and had breakfast using the money stolen from the burglaries. The following morning, the two bodies were found by the elderly couple's niece, Linda Couch, seen here about 30 years after the crime in a recent Facebook profile photo. Linda Couch would stop by the house several times a week to help care for the couple, to help Doris Montgomery take a bath and change her clothes. Prior to the murders, Charles Lorraine had already been found guilty of a burglary and was scheduled to begin doing a prison sentence for that crime. So it was now the following day after the murders, and after he had breakfast at Denny's, at some point during the day, this guy, Charles Lorraine, got the brilliant idea to call the Warren Police Department and ask a detective if he can make a deal on his burglary charge and sentence by reporting another crime, a double homicide, that he happens to have knowledge about. Lorraine was asked by Detective Howard Andrews to come into the police station where they could talk about it. Charles Lorraine arrived at the station about 90 minutes later after making that call, and he was questioned for several hours. It appears from reports that Lorraine first tried to come up with some inside information that he had heard about regarding the murders of the elderly couple. But what Lorraine was saying wasn't adding up to the detective. So whatever Lorraine's plan was didn't seem to work out, because the detective eventually got Lorraine to confess what actually occurred in the Montgomery home the night before. Please remember to subscribe for more death row and upcoming execution stories. I am Paco Rivera. Bye for now.